Hey there, this is me, and I am going to make an audio recording because um I don't know if you know much about Wicca or Pega, and if you do, if you don't, if you're a little confused, bear with me, I'll explain. Um, because I know that I have done previous audio recordings about, Wicca, and it's broken into um, four different lectures, and I had four different audios, and I thought I was going to do so for this audio recording. It will be the whole thing, so it's just kind of like the same information and everything, and I'm just going to kind of read the book off, but it's the whole thing, so it's basically like four lectures in one. So this is the audio, the complete guide to Wicca and Witchcraft. If you are reading this, it's only because okay, so I'm going to kind of it starts with a um, kind of like a quote. Okay, so now we're going to get more into the book. Introduction. You are asking yourself, do witches really exist? We are here to tell you they do. Through the love of this book, you'll find out what witches really are. You'll also enhance your own spiritual, and you will grow because you will be empowered with the wisdom of the craft. You are curious or hope to learn more about a subject that has often been some sort of a mystery. It could be that you are looking to make a change in your life. Maybe you are the seeker on a spiritual road. Or you might be looking for a path, a road, a direction that feels right for you. Spiritual is one of the main tools that help our journey to wisdom. Our ancestors know this. They have given us a way to make this change. This is the power of witchcraft. How to use this book. Read through the first few sections of this book before you make any hard and fast decisions. Give yourself the time and space to decide if a practice of witchcraft feels right to you. Before you run out and get magical tools, try what we have provided and ask how they feel. As you go through the book, do a ritual or two. You say you want to try some spells. Are you ready? This book is divided into 6 parts. Chapter 1. A11 about Wicca and witchcraft. In this chapter, what is Wicca? Natural powers, living in harmony with nature. Witches are all around you. Wiccan beliefs, anyone can do magic. Witches have been born in your life and as far back as you can remember. These are crones who tried to turn kids into a snack, poison apples, and beautiful. The reality is that witches today are everywhere and look just like regular people. That's because they are. All it takes is practice and a little knowledge, good intentions, and it will happen to you. 4, Part 1, Wicca Wisdom. Through the practice of Wicca, you can begin to find your inner power and learn to have a place, force in the world. This book can help you begin your exciting new role. Welcome to Wicca and Witchcraft. Wicca is a religion and it's getting more popular in the United States. Just to know an exact number of practicing witches, obviously we don't know how to do that. Some people really don't like it, witchcraft, because they're still controlling Wiccan body as if there are other religions. Trying to say an exact number of Wiccans is hard. What most resources agree on is that Wicca is the fastest growing religion in America, and the number of Wiccans is doubling every year or so. Becoming a witch, a lot of people are. What is Wicca? Let's just say that Wicca is an earth-based or nature religion founded on other beliefs. Wicca is a welcoming religion. Wiccans do not exclude anyone based on race, color, male, female, how old you are, national origin, or your sexual orientations. Not all Wiccans are witches, and not all witches are Wiccan. By the way, Wiccans don't use the word to male. Male witches are witches too. A warlock is a person who has broken an oath, and because of that, he don't get to be part of the community. There are a lot of different traditions in the Wiccan religion. We're going to talk mostly about Wiccan witches, and in this book we will learn the phrase Wiccan, and that will explain more about Wicca, witches and their history, chapters to follow. Have a great time reading Wicca and Witchcraft. Supernatural. Everybody has ability to channel energy. We have power within us to, one, take control of our lives, and two, to make things happen. Say somebody has been taught, look to the authorities, and to a large extent. Definition. Wicca refers to a religion, but not all witches in practice. Wicca is an earth-based religion that is most about God and goddesses. The word that comes from the Old English word Wicca, female witch, and Wicca meaning a wizard. A witch is someone who is practicing magic every day. Chapter 1, all about Wicca and witchcraft. Using energy or powers to control your life and make things happen just as it is as part of the natural world. Witchcraft can help improve your life, and you still may take responsible moral choices. When you study witchcraft, you learn about yourself, your needs, and your wants. That knowledge could help make it stronger, the power you already have. It also must have some pretty efforts to make things really happen. Some people see witches as greater than the ordinary, and then they call them supernatural. The force of the witches are available to all of us within us, and thus are our natural energies to make their lives better and heal and protect themselves, their friends and family, and the earth. Or super abilities. Is that natural? A witch's powers may be super, well, powerful, but they are natural. But we are not talking about powers with the three young witches on TV shows. Stopping time, moving objects, black and white magic. They are powers. Sometimes people exaggerate this a little bit. We're talking about the natural powers you're born with. Once you start practicing, you will understand what the force is, and that is energy within all of us. When you learn to focus on natural energy, you'll have increase it, channel it, and send it out to the world. Our natural energies make up our power, and we can use the power within a natural world, within natural things. Using your energy is not something that you would do instead of a mundane action, though, and you still need to actually do things. 6, Part 1, Wicca. The test. In order to pass the test, you think of the word, such as mundane, boring, or everyday. The word is often, and what they say, ordinary. If you have energies too, they must help clear head and forehead powers are supposed to be a special blessing that we all have. Some witches believe that your powers can be from the goddess. Whatever you are from, just know that you have them. Your heart and mind, your powers, the more you work with it, the better. Embracing your energy. Everything that you can do, natural and born, so there's no reason to be scared of that. Some of them are in tune with the energies and they find this and welcome tools and enhance our lives. Don't worry, you will suddenly find that the sparks shoot out of you every time you are around. Your powers are yours. You will control that. You must learn to respect everything that you can do and send them out for you or someone else's benefit. Your powers are not meant to be an entertainment. That is holy. You will come to use your tools how you need to. A Wiccan challenge for living in today's world. Living in close with nature in everyday life right now might seem a challenge. It can be really hard for the witches who cannot steal a word at the last big city. Nature has seemed like she wants to raise all hell and hard times to the goddess herself, angry with us. Asia, Hurricane Katrina, California gets really bad earthquakes, droughts, floodlights in the Northeast. These are natural, and it's hard with nature, which is know that nature is good for us. It just is. We would just see the best picture, but we can be around as it should. So motive B. Learning that your magic abilities is a process of self-discovery. One useful tool I use is a journal. Witches refer this, the big thing is Book of Shadows. As you learn more about witchcraft, record your thoughts and your feelings about yourself and the world around you. Remember, the Book of Shadows is for you. There's no rules. Chapter 1, all about witchcraft and Wicca. Witches in the world also have a responsibility to live fully, aware that the earth is holy, and use the source of magic if you treat it with respect and love. Everyone and act pushes us further away from natural energies. Witches from all parts of life find themselves living in a powerful impact on earth and how it should be treated. Wicca is often compared to Native American beliefs and traditions, which has recognized that it is our last to the healthy and vital. While many religions have a holy book, or book itself is all of her creatures reading this book and the happy goddess within each woman. What does a good witch do? How can a witch make a difference in all kinds of ways? Think about the impact you have on your environment every single day. Filling up the landfills, walk or bicycle rather than drive, take the bus, never ever litter or conserve water. Volunteer at your local animal shelter, neighbors, bottles, plant a tree, or the local river or lake. They may sound as magical solutions, but taking care of our world is really powerful. The god and the goddess will take note. Finding ways to connect to nature. If you live in the country or a small town, connecting to nature is easy. Take some time to enjoy nature's sight every day. Take a walk, talk to a tree in the grass, play, or get out. Why this doesn't require magic. What are candles and chants? We'll get to those, and first we have to strengthen your connection to the earth. In today's world, heat-controlled world, it's easy to lose a natural connection to nature. Take time to focus on the earth, smells, sounds, and sands. Following once found herself in a big city suffering from connected nature. She ended up adopting a will into her work. Every day she had to look at the vines against the wall. 6, Part 1, Wicca. Making a special effort to connect with the earth is especially important. If you live along skyscrapers or parking garages, really look around you. There are likely parts in your city. You can still look at the stars and the moon if you try. You can still hear The birds sing and watch the squirrels at play. Feel the earth's energy going through you, and foundation of good witchcraft. Who can be a witch? Anyone. You probably not at least one witch in your life. Maybe witches are all around different kinds of jobs. Witches are school teachers, bus drivers, chefs, construction workers, computer programmers, nurses, any kind of person. When you get your first someone, do you ask this person what a religion is? You probably don't. In most cases, the subject really comes up. Usually, you have a few clues about the person's self-belief system from his or her outward, which is just look like everybody else. You probably had set a witch without even realizing it. Witches not only look like everyone else, they're a lot like everybody else. Witch behaving. You can recognize this in the witches, but jewelry they wear. A teenage witch is a Detroit suburb, as told that she could not wear her necklace to school. The American Civil Liberties agreed to the First Amendment rights under. What do witches believe? In the 1970s, the Council of American Witches, organization that currently no longer alive anymore, so there's a few different laws. We practice rights to ourselves with the rhythm of life. We recognize that this is a responsibility toward our own environment. Chapter 111, all about Wicca and Witchcraft None. We acknowledge a depth of power far greater than apparent to average person. We convince ourselves creative power in the universe, masculine. We can neither gender above. We recognize the outer worlds, larger worlds, and we see it the basis for magical exercises. We do not recognize any. We saw religion, magic, and wisdom in that, and one who lives in it. Calling oneself a witch does not make you a witch, but neither does itself. If you've had it in collecting of titles, degrees, witches seek to control the forces within themselves that make life possible in order to live wisely and do and not harm to others. It is the affirmation fulfillment of life, evolution that gives us unwinds. Is magic a different form of magic? You bet. Both words from the same root. The able to have power, but magic is said card tricks, making quarters disappear, saving is in itself. Magic is the realm of witches and may include spells, healing, or other psychic forces. Our only Christianity toward any other religion, it says that they have true, right, and way sought to deny friends to others and hold back other religious and beliefs. We are not threatened by the history of crafts. We are concerned with our present and our future. We do not accept any concept of evil or worship any god that is Satan or anything bad. He will work in with this and well-being. 10, Part 1, Wiccan Wisdom. Wiccan witches do a little bit in nature and take responsibility for the environment. Wiccans believe the goddesses and everything and might have that's standing or out there watching us. In the faith of Wicca, we believe one God. And all we divide male and female, the god and the goddess, lord or lady. Neither the male nor the female is stronger or better or more important. Wiccans also believe demigods, tiny or smaller ones of the all. The all is so big that most witches find it helpful to kind of think about what she would look like and more personal their force. With the witch, 8, keep on his or the altar. This goddess with her big hips and full breasts is a sign of having babies and motherhood, but it's part of the all. Wiccan teachers, leaders do not recognize with those. No one can anyone else. You can be a witch through study within, and that it will be Christian. Definition of coven is a witches to practice their religion. Coven probably comes from Middle English, the word, English word convent from the same root. Venus of Waldorf. Wiccans believe that the morals are more common to their face. Wiccans do not believe in the Christian idea of original sin. Wiccans believe in the now, while some Wiccans believe life is lived for what it is present so that they may be lifetime or on earth. As Wiccans, we don't do it ourselves. Chapter 1, all about Wicca and Witchcraft 11. Happiness or some love and pain we don't want. We are waiting for a reward that can be only after we are dead. We enjoy life's happiness so that we are what it means to be in the earth and the part of the life on earth. Wiccans believe that all must have a job to do or a lesson to learn or to pay from that last lifetime. Once we have our mission, we can move forward to the Summerland where we can reflect on our mission to the next life. We believe that we are not put on earth to have in harmony with nature, never to abuse it. While Wiccans don't believe that there is hell to punish sinners, Wiccans do believe that there is a universal law called karma that puts our behavior on display so that we can learn from it. Karma doesn't punish us. It is like a system. Wiccans believe that people are good. A person's behavior might be weird, but that person is not bad. We are the large and the lady. Nobody is evil. Some people say that act or these energies, but evil or negativity are not within you. 3 times bad and 3 times good. Witches know the energy or action they are, whatever they have positive is threefold. If you punch someone in the eye, it does not mean that you will be punched in the eye, but that they fall down the stairs in the ankle. The fall will be 3 times more punch out. You get the temporary happiness of rattling someone, but in the end, you'll be able to lose your job, and you could. That's how karma works. The problem might not be come at you 1 minute later, but it will come back. Usually it gets you in the most important time. You will have to remember that what you deserve. If you don't have positive energy, you'll get positive energies in return. Your life is imposed that way, ripples, and those every positive is in that, a lot of people say. In 1886, the Federal Appeals Court ruled that Wicca is still legally a religion. Wicca is protected by the Constitution. Ever since the ruling, there are more Wiccans than ever. 12. Part 1. Wicca. If it does, you will. There are different types of traditional witches. Witches believe a lot of things. If you get 200 witches a question, you'll probably get 800 answers. There is no one core belief common to all Wiccan witches, but none will from this. The central principles that Wiccan read, as I said before, in this language. As it harm none, do what it will. If you think about it, the statement says the Christian 10 commandments. Wiccan witches do not think about things like the read. Just like Christians, Wiccan know what it is and what's wrong to kill, purposely hurt somebody, steal, or lie. The root does not have the things that you should avoid. Take responsibility for living according to its rule. Rule, archaic word that means advice or counsel. It can also be talking about a narration or story. In this context, a read is a good rule to live by. How can I cause here? This is a question that Wiccans ask themselves all the time, especially when doing magic. This can be avoiding drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, because these substances hurt the body and they cause harm. Everyone agrees that, if you hurt somebody or animals for fun is wrong. Wiccans believe that this is not good and you will lose your freedom in the animal kingdom. Some witches believe in vegetarianism, although you don't need to do that. Wiccans believe who do not eat meat thinks that it's giving the right to the animal gave its life for others to eat it. They don't wear fur or anything for the animal's life, just to have the trophy. They will have this things in nature. In trying to have this, many Wiccans become serious. Wiccans recycle and pick up trash in the street. Some Wiccans compost their scraps or put them on the animals instead of the large. For others, it just means being organic. Fruit and vegetables that have been raised in a way. We'll talk about the Wiccan Rede in detail. Witches believe in God. Wiccans hold the complete pure energy of all, the God and Goddess Most High. When you get to know witch, you will understand that witches actually really do care about it. For example, witch has a tree from a branch. Chapter 1, all about Wicca and Witchcraft 13. Something back to the true. Some compost or have them nourish the tree, and when witches harvest a plant, they try to do it in such a way that it is the plant. A lot of organization and help animals are made above Wiccans. Wiccans are a natural religion. Wiccans see the goddess in everything. Wiccans are not only the goddess in everything, but have that and the harmony in nature. Wiccans don't believe in Satan. The idea that witches worship Satan is most of the common place. The mistaken is developed years ago because of the Christian leaders. They didn't want anybody to follow another religion, and they thought it was an anti-Christian. If you weren't a believer in Christ or good, you must be what is the opposite, Satan or the devil. It's an all evil Satan. It's a Christian idea that plays no part in Wiccan religion. Wiccan do not believe that all negativity or evil is organized. Most of the time, negative things simply out of self-interest to their own personal gain. They're more independent. Neither do Wiccans believe that it's a place, hell, or damn to evil, languish, and suffer. As we said earlier, witches try to gain power through suffering or others. Are you ready for magic? We all have the ability within ourselves for magic. We all do magic every day of our lives without realizing it. Have you ever said a little chant, find yourself parking, and then a space appeared? Write up a sick friend or relative to make the person feel better. Have a lucky job interview. Salt over your shoulder. 14 Part 1, Wicca, Wisdom. Every title that have parking place and get to it every time your special kids make soup for somebody before magic. They make that is the inner and the ingredients, and we will have our own recipe. You put in your loving energy and hope that your friend or kid will feel better. The sick person eats the soup and feel better. That's magic. You lucky outfit is in the magic too. Maybe it gives you the confidence. You say, well, maybe confidence is all, but maybe there is something special about that. And everybody superstition the shoulder on a word or belief, and you are magic. Magic makes you feel good. It's the healthier source of self-expression because the magic is in the witchcraft and the power that is already within you. If you are ready to make your life better, control yourself, or empower yourself, let's do and explore, and you will want to be if you are ready to look at the world and the different light and the magic. The least you need to know. Wicca is a religion with hundreds of thousands of people, women, and son practicing Wicca in the United States today. Witches do believe in the pure energy of all, the union of masculine and feminine energy. Witches do not have the Christian concept of Satan. Witches are everywhere. Witches are not good or bad, just like all other human beings on Earth. They chose to wield their powers for the benefit of those and others. According to the Wiccan idea, whatever you do, good or bad, could come back to you threefold. If you remember nothing else, remember this of the reed, harm none, and do as thy will, so would it be. Chapter, the history of Wicca and witchcraft. In this chapter, before Wicca and witchcraft, the birthing times, survival of the Wiccan religion, Wiccan now and into the future. You have a sense of history of Wicca and witchcraft. As a kid, you had novels and The Witch of the Pond or the play. Maybe you would even star in your high school production. Maybe you do have that Massachusetts. Some of what you have, the history of witchcraft, accusations, trials, torture, guys going to prison, burnings at the stake. Did he have the witchcraft start? What really happened? Why? Where does all this history have a place in today? 16, Part 1, Wicca Wisdom, studying the spirit of each thing. Before they started the Christian religion, there was the Roman God and Greek, and they had, hundreds of different gods before recorded history. People had spirit things, trees, grass, plants, animals, rivers, and the spirits of the wind, rain, sun, and moon are also important. Gods and goddesses. A1 over Europe, they have found small carved female figures that have of that 20,000 years ago. The figures are so referred to as the Wiccan Venus figures. The Venus is famous. She's super curvy, large breasts, flat tummy, and a huge booty. Scholars believe that this represents having babies or a life power, as it does go back to chapter 1. In 908, there was a book that had known as Wallendorf. It was found in a cave near Vienna, Austria. Men that researched believed that the 4-inch figure comes from the time period between 2400 and 2200 BC. When found, she had a little bit of red color. Similar have been found large from Western France and Western Russia. The Venus of Willendorf has become, it's also a pretty common picture in art. Cave paintings from around the same time period have animals, people, half figure the god of the hunt. Nobody really is sure of the figure represent a god. A lot of the writers also have written on the subject and are to our grind. They wanted to prove that they have always been over women. On the other hand, more recent writers try to show the opposite, and that the evidence left by those life potential on the earth. Chapter 2, The History of Witchcraft 17. Returning to a Fertile World, The Rise of Ritual. From the few ancient cave paintings we have religious rituals with the people dancing. It took animal costumes. Men that were researchers believe that the prehistoric people used rituals, cursing to apply to the animals to multiply plants that grow. These rituals are distant. Is it just actually the rituals? For example, have you attended a wedding, graduation, or funeral? Put candles in a cake, happy birthday to a friend? Rang a neighbor's doorbell while you had a costume and did trick or treat? Said blessing before a mall? Wished on the stars, saying starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight? The word ritual has the order and the religion that detailed. A ritual is the actions, and this is perform magic. You have done rituals. As you can see from the list, rituals can be quite varied. Some are solemn and serious, others are less. Some of us are fun. The purpose of these rituals varies as it will. Men who used to do research back, believe that the focus of rituals in early was about having babies, people, animal, and the earth. Throughout history, as rituals were more, people had the people and the rituals, but they would be a typical world. By 150 BC, the Celts, an ancient people of Western and Central Europe, had made a priestly class. The Druids, shamans, druids about the world. The Druids had reflected their knowledge. There were Druid healers, specialists, ritual, weather, law, and astrology. Druids were even said to be able to look into the future. A lot of people go back to the origins of Wicca, back to the Druids and a magical knowledge at the same empire grow, and there were less Druids. 18. Part 1. Wicca Wisdom. Of popes and pagans. In 307 BC, the Roman Empire adopted the Christian religion as the official religion. Roman soldiers spread the official state religion in the interpretation of what they had. Often this will be the priest of the local religion. This killing included the Druids. The Christian church gained in religion, political, and more power. From Gregory to Innocent Bull. Pope Gregory the First, 500, 408 through 604, also known as the Goat. They say that he was the one, the main guy who was in charge of the power of the church and organizing, making so it was, technically speaking, Europe was all Christian. How did he do it? He had 10,000 people baptized in England alone. He had also had churches built in the pagan temples. He said that the people would continue to grow with those instead of worshiping their old gods. They would be led in prayer. In many areas, people developed a hybrid religion in appearance of Christians, but then they still believed in their old faith. Yes, we can use this today in many parts of the world as it is. For example, in Europe, churches, they do have, like some churches in Europe do say Our Lady. That's another name for the goddess. A English and a pagan is defined as someone who has more than one religion. A religion is many gods. It is also people who has no religion. It could be anybody who is not Christian. This could be the late Latin word meaning civilian, which has come from the Latin word but meaning dweller. So the word pagan really doesn't carry anything negative. After he passed away, the pagan said that they had gained power. A series of popes worried about the various types of Christianity that were spreading. To keep changes in check, they explained had Christians' Wicca beliefs or practices what the church described. Chapter 2. The History of Wicca and Witchcraft 19. In 1484, Pope wrote the bell or letter about witches that was represented far and wide. The Pope complained that no one was the theft or the witches seriously enough. He said that everybody helped find witches and threatened anybody who stood in the way. Some of the people convicted under Pope's bull say that he had been herding witches. Wise man and someone who had been the knowledge of the Druids, old pagans, and the beliefs. And they were probably not. To a few of us, the witches were already because they kept cats. Cats were thought to be the demons that the devil gave to witches as advisors and messengers. Morris madness. Popes, the bull, and then Jacob Springer is to be the witches. Homer in Fat Kramer and had the under the Pope what is in the book. The book, which is divided into 3 parts, came out in 1486, and they said that this started. In the first part of that, he explains how dangerous witches are for not doing hearsay against church. In the second part of the book, he says the list of the witches and their evidence, which is some relations to the devil and ability to fly. Finally, the monks show how legally they convict people of witchcraft. Avoid using that about the witches and hatred of the Catholic. Yes, happened in the past, but it doesn't help anybody else. Remember the last list that I was talking about, the principles of the Council of American Witches? One of the points in the list read actually was talking about Christianity or any religion. Life, institutions, true, right, and only way, and they felt that it did not fraud or any other ways of religious and beliefs. Another good point from the document. We are so concerned with the present and the future. 20, Part 1. Wicca and Wisdom. Pope's calls that the malice and the deaths of so many people across Europe. There were quarters put to death. The monks thought that it were likely to become witches because they were more, it was a lot easier to have the influence of demons. Witches today say that the horrible period of history, burning times. Some scholars say that 50,000 people were killed during Europe in the burning times. Other people refer to the high stellium for number of people who are turned and died as a result. Enduring, surviving the crucible. Despite persecution, witches and their beliefs, or severe trial of the Middle Ages, and the trouble was far from over. Repression continued into the century. King James 1608. In 1604, King James I of English, the same guy who had the English of the Bible, passed the witchcraft the act, the punishment for using the witchcraft became hanging. Previously in England, the crime meant absolutely this guy was going to prison. This act also goes up with the witches and the devil, taking any with the devil of a crime is punishable by death. James had one step further. This is actually in the Bible. You shall suffer a witch alarm. Definition: a crucible is a container made to heat metal at high temperatures. It is very tough. A crucible is also defined as the same trial. The burning times were another good time to be a witch. By the end of the reign, King James I was charged his wife for witches after talking to a number of witnesses. They had given false harmony and physical wounds and accused witches. James I decided that witchcraft, he didn't believe in it. Despite the change in his views, he died in 1625. The English witch trials of 1612, 1616, 1633, 1645 were still. Chapter 2, The History of Wicca and Witchcraft, 23. 1892. In 1692, America was still a British colony, so we lived under the British laws. King James I Witchcraft Act of 1604 was used to persecute the guys that were accused of witchcraft in Salem, Massachusetts. I don't know if you know about this with the stories, if you've ever heard of this from the Arthur Miller's play, The Crucible. So, as I talk about this, make sure that you know that the play is a work of art and it's not history, and that it may be actual facts. About Christians, pillars of the Puritan community in Salem, and the stowed accused. Two of the accusers admitted that they had made their stories, but in fact they had terminated them. The group of accusers turned on them. Two young men and around them. Soon the group of the accusers is traveling into the witches community. The accused began and others, and this considered in the court. By then, the time in the Salem witch scared was over. Almost 150 people had been arrested and people tried. Eventually, 19 people, 13 of them women, were hanged, and one guy was crushed to death. The 5 and the wisdom and the woman confessed to witchcraft at their trials and were given. In addition, 2 people died in jail 14 years after the trials, and the youngest 22, Part 1, Wicca Wisdom. The title page from Cotton, famous pamphlet. New England. By Cotton. Resting in the shadows and emerging into the light. The terror that was all across Europe and New England was horrible. The last execution was witchcraft took place in 1793. Neither did the faith nor the magic died out completely. Practitioners in witchcraft stayed hidden from the shadows and kept their knowledge secret. Solitary pursuits. Although witches continued to have their wisdom, most people, witchcraft was dead. The practice of the pagans, the old, was these survive in pockets, covens, groups of witches still worship together. They did not get cut off from within witches within this, and the individuals written records of that. Witches were so from one another, and this was recorded in the Book of Shadows, a book that contains a witch spell and lists the information. Chapter 2, The History of Wicca and Witchcraft 23. The Crucible for Persecution. In 1851, the English Parliament recognized this against witchcraft. 2 years later, Arthur Miller's play The Crucible would hit on Broadway. Historically and culturally, this is the point for witches. Not only did witches get into public discussion, but it was the witches that they were. Good reason. Arthur Miller's play, as everyone was aware, it is not so much about the witchcraft as it is where communists were haunted, the fact that they had those trials and that was to turn. In 1954, Gerald Gardner published his Witchcraft Today. In this book, Gardner, an English witch, comes out of the broom closet and describes the existence of the craft. In the 20th century, Gardner, a longtime student of religion and magic, believed that information handed down in his Coven's Book of Shadows was accurate. 2 fix the situation. He said that he did a lot of research in rituals and chants. Through these activities, he became the figure. A return to the natural. In 1979, National Public Radio in the altar drawing the witches, druids, goddess worshippers, and other pagans in today's America. That year later, The Spiral Dance, another best-selling books, came out. Both books have been introduced thousands and thousands of people to Wicca, goddess worship, and a number of books about Wicca and witchcraft. The number of people for more books on the subjects. 24, Part 1, Wicca Wisdom. So mote it be. To increase tolerance with yourself and people around you, try saying this. I embrace the world. In perfect love and perfect trust, I embrace the world. Let all who I encounter grant no accord. May we only be friends in the face, in the past, cut off the dark thoughts, and walk into the light. This is my will, so mote it be. All more power to the spell by the seedling plant. Nature it, water it, and you will read the words. As the plant grows, so will the tolerance around you. Wiccans and witches can practice their faith. In 1986, Fourth Critique Court of Appeals and the Wicca as a religion with the First Amendment strike. Since that time, Wicca has been recognition from the United States. Revenue, IRS, and the tax exempt at the legal religion. Within the Netherlands, students of Wicca are allowed to write off further schools. Just in the case witches do encounter, there are organizations around the world to help. In 1986, Laura has the witches and the public awareness. The Witches Lobby, known as the Alternative Religious Education Network and the Earth Religion Assistance List, and a lot of other organizations that are active for witches. The American Civil Liberties Union, too, has become the legal help of witches, arguing in court in 1999 that a Wiccan high school is a symbol of her faith. Necklace to school, previous chapter. It's still often that openly broadcast spiritual, but also a personal affair. If friends are curious, answer each of the questions honestly, but stress the happy parts of your religion. Harm none. Live as though the earth and all of the inhabitants are sacred. Strive toward the positive. You will find people that don't believe in it, but there is no need to turn them into enemies. Chapter 2, The History of Wicca and Witchcraft 25. Wicca and witchcraft in the world we live in. On the cultural front, people of all faiths and opinions seem to be embracing the natural knowledge that is the heart of the Wiccan religion. Worry about this environment and the future of our planet is widespread. People are acting in these issues and recycling goods, and some are living simply and focusing on the container of modern life. The increase in investment in spiritual and new age topics has led a lot of people to explore Wicca and witchcraft, and even if the people don't become witches, there's a lot of this. People think, at least they look like they're going through kind of a change with their minds nowadays, searching for ways to live in tune with the nature and many other. A lot of Native Americans are really concerned about the divided nature to the religions, and that is the true path, and other faiths are Wiccans, in contrast, believe all positive spiritual paths lead to the same honor, being one with God, in search for tolerance, harmony, peace, and the freedoms of the spirits, and all will be of those. The least you need to know, people are goddesses recorded in history. Many say people were killed during the burning times, some of them women. Some of them were witches and some of them were not. Witchcraft is in the 1950s, has been gaining more over the years. In the United States today, witches have rights since 1986. Wicca has been on the legal rights. Chapter: Practicing Wicca and Witchcraft Today. In this chapter, what kind of witch are you? One witch, alone. Group of covens. Teach yourself or be taught. Thousands of people practice witchcraft, and you have been them. Witches practice the traditions and follow our teachers. In the chapter, you will be about the different traditions and solitary witches and practicing alone and those who have joined us. We get the idea and the kind of witch you want to be. We'll give you the tips and more about finding a coven or a teacher. Whatever you want to do is a spiritual reading. 28 Part 1, Wicca and Wicca. Starting your practice of Wicca and witchcraft. Beginning anything new can be weird. Isn't it some sort of a feeling? We know this. If you feel nervous, take it slow. Read through this book and read with others. You don't have to rush the right out and find a teacher or join a coven. This is your practice, Wicca and witchcraft, so it's your way. 11 kinds of witches. Just as there are a lot of different types of, different religions, let's say Christians, there are a lot of different kinds of witches. Some witches practice ritual in covens, some follow of the traditions, while others work alone in their own rituals. Some witches draw elements of the practice from a number of different traditions. Some witches find their own. The Witches' Coven. A coven is a working group of witches. Covens usually have one or two leaders in which they have a known and the high priestess, high priestess. A number of witches is a coven between 3 and 20. Some covens keep the membership to maybe around 12 or fewer because 1 or 3 is the largest number you can go into in a circle, a size that is some witches. Covens practice magic together in some religious rituals and the tradition, and many of the make your own decisions. Some people believe they have the Christianity and those witches organized, and the Christians were at the same time. It has those and the apostles, other people, and then either way, and it's all work. The traditions. Witches follow traditions and practice. They are of the kind. Chapter 3, Practicing Wicca and Witchcraft Today, 29. A Gardnerian Wicca. In 1950s, the England replaced witchcraft law. Gerald Gardner will be public doubt of the practice of witchcraft. He rewrote the rituals of the coven he belonged to, so they would be more accurate. Gardnerian comes from a deserving system in which we have learned the craft. People must be inspired by the coven and enjoy themselves through safely. His coven, in addition, they may have none in the group. Alexandrian Wiccan. Alexander's founded the tradition in the 1960s. So before that, it started up in England. Guys work in their own ritual with something like the practice and the emphasis. Wicca. George Patterson found the tradition in California in 1970. The followers of the Wicca were also known as the church. The rituals are from the different traditions, still elements would be see fit. some of these rituals, some do not. In 1962, Raymond Blackland, a protege of Gerald Gardner, moved to the United States where he founded the situation. He taught the Gerald tradition for a number of years. He was having problems, and he saw the practice and the craft, for he had his own tradition in 1973. Wicca is based on the traditions, but he admits he had to do it alone. Coven decided to have themselves if they were robbed, which is of the traditions that can be. First, there are a number of spells in the tradition. You also have fairies, or fairy. Victor had that credited for the tradition to the United States, where he was taught in the San Francisco area in the 1960s. Teachers had that of those tradition in small groups. Popular author of the dance got training in the first in 1880. He said the Coven. 30. Part 1. Wicca Wisdom. Reclaiming focuses on linking spiritual with the magic and your own. The teachings of the traditions have spread from San Francisco, in the area, and the individual teachers and the groups, United States, Canada, England, and Germany. In the goddess, the little talks about God. The goddess is worshipped in 3 parts: maiden, mother, and crone. There is a different varieties of witches. In the 1970s, the tradition has been the feminist movement of the craft. Some, not all, are women only. British tradition. There are a lot of different British traditions, all of which are what people believe before there started being Christians in Britain, and the many traditional ladies who had written a number of books about witchcrafts. The group tend to be structured, and the beginners follow a degree program under the supervision of the Coven. Celtic Wicca. This tradition links to ancient Celtic and Druid gods and beliefs more about the magical of planets, minerals, gnomes, fairies, elemental spirits. Some of the rituals are from the Gardnerian practice. Strega, witches, and the type witch follows the traditions from Italy, sometimes known as the religion, the old religion. Some people trace the teachings back to a woman who had 14th century. The Strega is really gaining popularity. Black Forest Clan. The clan practices traditional known as witchcraft, which includes the clan tradition of the Druid, Wicca, Gardnerian, Jerwa, and the Celtic witchcraft. This is a lineage that includes Gerald Gardner, Ray Buckland, Laura Silver, and those. And this tradition prepares us for that. High priests and priestesses do not blow off. Instead, they multiply by remaining part. Chapter 3. Practicing Wicca and Witchcraft. Today, 31. This list, of course, is not complete. There are a lot of other forms and religions, and some of the different traditions are based on the heritage. If you do not know, there is a good chance that she'll be Italian background. This does not mean that the guys with Italian heritage can lead on. That is the tradition background. Solitary witch is a practicing witch in a variety of traditions and is no tradition as a solitary. These witches can design a system of worship that is best for them. Some traditions Garden or Alexandrian, for example, say that a witch must be part of a coven to join. Some people do not believe that a witch throughout history has been some in the craft. So before that, the books, websites about witchcraft, this has a rise of solitary witches. In the past, before information about witchcraft and available, people seek the knowledge and tradition that had a coven or a person to teach them. Now, all of that needs to hand down to their on the solitary to this day. The hereditary witch. Hereditary witch is often from the craft of older relatives with family traditions. Some women believe that the traditions passed down from one family with the chain of belief, traditions, old religions, and the other people were sure, while friendly tradition can be very old. Witches portrayed in entertainment. 32, Part 1. Wicca wisdom. Solitary or coven. Choosing between being a solitary witch or joining a coven can be tough. Originally involved in the craft and solitary, she read books and took a Wicca course. While taking this course, she hooked up with a local coven. She had been in that as they realized their energy and did not. She had been the coven, solitary practice, and buckled down. She would get serious now and do everything she could. Despite her seriousness, she fell under something sissing. So you can answer, she had the up-and-coming Wiccan author, Silver, wrote back, turn it over to the goddess, for she always takes a plan. What a plan it was. Years later, she opened a metaphysical bookshop, joined the coven, and was the author of some books. In making her own choice about joining the coven or practicing alone, you'll want to keep a number of ideas in mind. Do you live alone or wear covens? Are there tradition appeals to you? Do you feel comfortable in a group? Do you have time to commit to activities? These are important questions. Pros and cons of coven life. In a coven, you get support and friends and have those in the craft. You also get a schedule for how to learn. A lot of witches feel that the group with is important, especially when magic. Well, within the coven, you study for higher degrees, and at some point you will get a high priestess or a high priest. The teaching of a coven has been handed down. In the coven, it's good for some people. The coven will make choices about the times and those fit your schedule. Covens have organizations of each person may not be comfortable. A lot of covens have this. The other members will be the laws of the tradition. If you have the laws, coven can cast you out. If you have the coven's traditions. Chapter Practicing Wicca and Witchcraft, today 33. Finally, as a member of a coven, you will spend time with a group of people. Pros and cons of going solo. As a solitary witch, you have learned the paces of solitary. You worry about the degrees and find your own schedule. You can wear what you want during rituals, clothes, robes, or nothing at all. Solitary witch, you will have the advisor and chose around in a group associated with. As solitary, you can take on the students if you want, and you will, many will do the ritual. The downside of going solo is that you're on that help and guidance from other people do not available. Resist the temptation to become dedicated to the first coven that you visit. Be sure that is what you want. Neo Witch seeks training. The kind of training you will have depend on which you want to be. The first step to discover will be there. Visit your local bookstore, check out the books. 34, Part 1, Wiccan and Wisdom. Interests. You may find information at a local store. The coven will be practicing at the internet. There's a lot of information, and it will have read, reread, and more reading. Training at a coven would actually have the rites are usual. The craft. Each person is different and follows general lines. When you have told interested in joining, they invite you to stand at their rituals. If they approach you, steer clear. When you visit the coven's open circle, you get to check out a coven, and they usually get to check you out. After a few visits, if all goes well, the coven numbers that you will still want to join the schedule and the dedicant in the witch training. In all the likelihood, if you're under 18, you don't need to do that. Be solitaire and which you are of age. There are a lot of a day and a year before doing the first degree initiation acceptance, which is already have the day. The coven will probably give a list of expectations, include attendance or study requirements, promises to uphold the Wiccan Read, and the oath to keep your identity of those some witches are not out of the broom closet, but the major. Chapter 3, Practicing Wicca and Witchcraft to day 33. If your energies read well with the group, you may do everything right and still not be able to go to join, and the energies don't exist with the other covens. A lot comes to follow in, of course, there is some variation. First degree initiation, a year and a day after your dedication, after study and hard work, you provide the high priestess and high priest feel you are ready. You will take a party in which you are reborn to the Wiccan path. At that time, you will have your first degree initiation and official title of the priest or priestess, and you become the coven in the first degree, which you will get one initiation. Second degree elevation, at least a year and a day before, after earning your first degree, you will be study and hard work. You can get a second degree initiation. If the high priest and the high priestess feel you are ready, you still will have the high priest. At this point, you usually can start teaching. Third degree initiation, at least a year from the day you will earn your second degree, you can be a third level elevation if the high priest and or high priestess feel you are ready. Sometimes this degree takes a little more of the responsibilities. At this point, you will be title of clergy. Once you have your third degree, you will be given the title of Lord or Lady. There is a lady in our Wiccan community. Once you have three degree high priest or high priestess, third degree high priestess. You can break from any your coven, hive off, and form your own coven. If you do that, you have the high priest or high priestess and the leader of the coven. 36, Part 1, Wicca Wisdom. Leadership from the coven occurs a year and a day. A few traditions for covens representing training from the high priest or the high priestess. So mote it be. If you do visit a coven, remember that you check out and they are doing. Do they have coven members friendly, healthy, and happy? Do they treat you with respect? Does the Wiccan teachings as that will and the Wiccan read respect and everything? Are you the members of that? If this, then that's not the coven for you. Life is a coven member. Being a member of a coven is not real easy. It usually involves study, hard work, or tenet of the coven function. The high priestess and the high priest, it is with the members just said they will not. Covens generally have the party on holidays of God, holidays of goddess a year, so have 2 meetings a month. Often each coven member is assigned a part to play. Your ritual is the real commitment. You will also be asked to buy candles for the altar, run errands to clean covens, take on service projects, work in a local stream, litter in a park, or helping out a soup kitchen. Chapter 3, Practicing Wicca and Witchcraft. To day 37. High priest, high priestess, or elders. Most covens have a high priestess or high priest. Within the Gerald tradition, a coven must have a high priestess. High priestess is seen as the goddess and is a spiritual center. She leads the coven in a ritual, wealthy teachings, and the guards on their spiritual path. The high priest will help the high priestess, and it is God. Elders are people who have all their degree and the right to practice as the high priest or high priestess. Traditions as a solitary. Solitary witches have their own to themselves or find a teacher. A trip to your local metaphysical store. Most cities and towns have a metaphysical store where you can find books on witchcraft or check out the New Age section. Wicca workshop and courses. If you have a chance or a teacher asks questions, if it's not the teachers and that be part of the teacher or solitaire, this is a high priest or high priestess. Does the teacher make it specific? Find out how long the class is and how much does it really cost. 38 Part 1. Wicca Wisdom. Another great place to find workshops and courses about Wicca and witchcraft is at pagan festivals. Parties are also for the people, for the network. Wicca and Witchcraft Internet. The internet also has made life as a solitary witch easier. Now you can practice alone and still have a lot of different women you can connect to. The online pagan community. Be careful as your interactions though. As you know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Don't worry about finding that. No, it will be ready and you will be and then it should be. The least you need to know, there are probably thousands of books on witches. And you do not know a coven, a witch. Many witches practice on their own, and it is. If any witch asks you to do something immoral or illegal, leave it up to the goddess. The Wiccan way. You already know the Wiccan way honors God. And Goddess's Road has the kitty to this in the section. You will learn about the ethics of the Wiccan faith. Chapter 4. Wiccan deities. Honor to the Lord and the Lady. In this chapter, A1 about A11 about the Lord and the Lady working with gods and goddesses. choosing your god. In most ways, you also have the gods of the faith that is known in the Wiccan you will be on the gods to work with. Now, you can choose the god that you want to work with because all deities from all cultures are from A11. Part 2, the Wiccan way. To all. Before the creation of Earth, there was A11. The A11 needing and silence. In A11, a female spirit was alone. She carried her other half, her male spirit. That was with the spirits, only one was still living universe. Then they had the stars, planets, Earth, and animals. The A11 was both male and female. No one is better than the other. The two parts, twins or equal. From their equal life, the god and the goddess, the physical symbolize to realize the presence. The goddess shows that, and its capable sun fiery. Honoring the Lord and the Lady. In witchcraft, you pay to the god and the goddesses A11. A lot of those chose for the goddess. Lord and Lady, and where is she? The lady is the female with A11. She is the marriage, the having babies, love, learning growth. So is the call for females. And the goddess, in other words, the goddess is everywhere. She is a force leading from. The goddess is a single thing in every time. Chapter 4, Wiccan Gods, Lord and the Lady, 43. Who is the Lord and where is he? The Lord is the essence of A11. He is the wild, playful, and the lusty part of God. He is there to protect us. He is the one that may enter if you suddenly change in the physical strength. He can help you what life has thrown on you. How does this relate to the lady? You work with respect and honor the lady. You don't beg favors from her. You can have the goddess from the ancient culture. Many people feel that they're comfortable giving her personality. And the lady, she is the abundance the earth has to give, hidden inner knowledge, and all that women have. Lunar, maiden, mother, wife, and tantress. Luna is the human goddess of the moon. She is 3 phases: maiden, mother, and crone. Represents the 3 stages of a woman's life. The maiden is the young part. To her, everyone, she is sweetness and tenderness, as she has living protective and nurturing the humankind. Actions hurt anybody, get angry, yet she still loves us, honor, or the behave. So, goddess and the mother. 11, part 12, the Wiccan way. So to be in your journal, in a few words, goddess. You don't have to have the sentences about spelling. Just have come into our world. The Charge of the Goddess. The Charge of the Goddess is a book that frequently is in Wiccan ritual. When I have departed from this world, wherever ye anything once in a month moon is full, ye shall assemble this place, or in all together in the spirit of your queen, my mother, great Diana. You do the lawn. All sorcery has not yet in the deepest secrets, my mother, and though it will be unknown to the slavery that shall be in everything, the sign is truly fire. You shall be rated your rights, both men and women. This will be the last until they shall be dead. Chapter 4. Wiccan Gods. Banish the Lord and the Lady. High Priest, listen to the words of the Great Mother, the Ancient of the Ageless Time. She has been many songs, Artemis, Diana. High Priestess, whatever you need, come to me. I am gathering honor in my place. I will worship you, sing, feast, and music. In the highest ideal spirit parts. Eternal joy, knowledge. Upon death, you will get the gifts from freedom. You will be reunited with the spirit world before you. I will give you sacrifice in my name and a spirit as me. I am all living things. I am you upon earth. High Priest, hear the words of the great moon goddess, light illuminated from them in the universe. High Priestess, cherish and protect the earth's beauty which has the gateway. 46 Part 2, the Wiccan Way. Then you will never find without in the Alpha and Omega. If you use the Charge of the Goddess with the group, you have the right to person in the High Priest in the sections for his High Priestess reads from the Charge of the Goddess. The Charge of the Goddess is the High Priestess and the God. You do not, however, have a High Priest. How can I relate to the Lord? You can work with the Lord in the form of the God. He is an instance of fatherhood. He is kind. He is gentle. He protects you, but he also is angry. You have to help and honor and respect for his guidance, widow's protection, and strength aspects of all strengthen what you do. Nature's royal prince, king, elder. Just as the goddess can be for the mother and the crown, it is all three phases. Charge of the God. Like the Charge of the Goddess, Charge of the God is a guy's book. High Priestess. Listen to the words, the lover, the lady. High Priest, son, king of that. Chapter 4, Wiccan Gods. Manage the Lord and the Lady, 47. Cultural laws, forest, hoof, and harm collided with Sun Lake, have a party. My law, it is the earth, I am a rebirth. High Priestess, hear the great loved ones from the songs and the stars flowing. High Priest, I am the sun, keeper of the leaves. 11 other god and goddesses. 11 gods and goddesses, the aspect of A11. Before you start to work with these, you need all about all the other gods. God and goddesses give you the chapter. 48 Part 2, the Wiccan Way. Getting the big picture. While you are learning the craft, some gods don't six the match the god and goddess from different cultures. First, discover all you can. Working with God, sometimes light, sometimes not. The god which you work with will depend on what you do. If you are working with a Celtic and you are healing, you will be called on. With the Egyptian, you might have some sort of play. You are at war with any other god or goddesses. They want some deities have light energies, some are darker. With this, there's all. Choosing your god, some famous gods. You say Greek goddesses and goddesses. There's god and goddesses from all the other traditions that we've heard. Pick the one that you like. Resist the temptation to pick a dark god or goddess just because you can. Remember, you work with a god that should be helpful to you. What you do, it's for you. Chapter Gods, Lord and Lady. Apel, a god of healing and earth. He is the twin of young, handsome. Together they will be the god and the goddess. In this, they will have that. The god of the moon and the women. He will have fertility, young girls, virgin. She is beautiful and should be of love and arrows. Often birds, deer go with her. She is the comfort that provides women when they're giving birth. When working with her, she can get very demanding. Athema, the goddess of wisdom. She is beautiful and a serious young woman. A warrior who is lace and shield. Sometimes she has the city of Athens. The goddess of the harvest, having babies, motherhood. She is an old woman. She often is we know her for the love of her daughter into an underworld. God, life force, wild. He is, his energy can be felt. Gala, another earth. She sits with three and has fruits, grains, and vegetables in the fall. 50 part 2, the Wiccan way. The goddess of magic and moon. She is the witches and the queen of the spirit world. She can take a different view with the underworld. Mora, the goddess of childbirth. She is known for fertility and generosity. She also has a temper, so you better be careful. Pan, the god of wild places, wild things. He is associated with all that is young. Persephone, the goddess of having children. A mother, she has honoring. Poseidon, he is the god of the water and the seas. He is the protector of the sailors and all of those. He has the tradition with dolphin and horses. Zeus, he is the king. Roman gods and goddesses. The god of wine, having babies. Wiccan goddess, marriage to the Lord and the Lady 52. She is the goddess of having babies, the beautiful Janus. The god of the doorways. He is the protector and the father of the spirits. June, the goddess of the moon. She is Jupiter and the queen of the gods. Lisa, the god of the church. She appears to be the mother of the crow. Mars, he is the god of agriculture and warrior. Mercury, the lost to communication. Neptune, the Pluto, the god of the underworld, and that is when dead. The monkey god, Kali, the goddess of earth, nature, destruction, creation, and renewal. Dark hair, Krishna, the god of love. He takes form a man. Siva or Shiva, the god of charge, temptation. Egyptian gods and goddesses. Anan, the god of having babies. This is also more of a list. Chapter 4, Wiccan and the Lord and the Lady 53. Belfast, a goddess of the childbirth. Moon. It is all the cats and of all the animals. She has a human body and the head of a cat. So mote it be. You will develop a personal relationship with the god that you choose to work with. You take that relationship and the deity into your life and will be on your own life. Horus, a similar god of order of evil. Isis, the mother of the main goddess. We know about her for having babies. Nephthys, the goddess of magic, dreams, and intuition. Net, the goddess of the sky, she is young. God of commerce and money. Ra, the sun god. 52 part 2. The powerful goddess of war. Thought, a goddess of mysteries. Celtic gods and goddesses. Bridget, the goddess of healing, inspiration, craft. The horns god, he takes the man with the horns. Clar, the goddess of the moon. The god. Chapter 4. Wiccan gods. Homage to Lord and Lady. The god of the underworld and change. God of magic, art, music, healing, strength, beauty, courage. Morrigan the war, the goddess of war and having babies. Other god and goddesses in Wiccan rituals. The queen of witches in Italian. The goddess of love and war, Middle Eastern. Freyja, the goddess of love and having babies. The holy king and the king. 56 part 2. The Wiccan way. Ishtar, the goddess of heaven, moon, sex, love. Lilith, the goddess of storms, she has been associated with the moon. The goddess of mercy, Thor. The last, you need to learn the A11, the Lord and Lady. They are all important things. The Lord and the Lady are major aspects of all. They are different from one another, but equal. In Wicca, you should choose to follow the god that you like. Chapter. So, you want to be a witch? In this chapter, what do you want to do? Take care of people, have fun. Wiccan witches live their lives according to the principles and the code of their religion. These principles are not too picky, yet they are not by the good action. In this chapter, we will have that to become compelling yourself to the craft is serious thing that you don't want to go into. Why do you want to become a witch? Do you want to live yourself with nature? 58 part 2. Saying chants, doing spells, and the cool stuff, Wiccan path. It's important that start your journey. A self-exploration. Take you and the time. Be honest with yourself. Chapter 7. 1. Are you attracted to Wicca because it's really different? Does it strike you as completely different from other religions? 2. Do you like the idea of the spell and the dynamics between you and your family? Do you have the spells in secret that you could with 3? Do you do the Wicca magic in your social life? 4. I draw a cool magical stuff, wand, pentacles, or anything. 5. Does have reason to be unusual outfits found fun? 6. Are you attracted to Wicca because it will make you stronger? 7. Are you considering Wiccans too because your friends got you into it? 8. Chapter 5. So you want to do witch, 59. First, remember Wiccan read. Remember what the whole idea or others just want you to do that in the lens of that still come back. Besides, casting spells on friends and family without their permission at those spells. 3. Again, casting spells unethical around us. 4. We fess up, we like magical stuff too. But, that being said, it will be a witch, you will have a problem. 5. On that tall meals is a good thing. Remember the Wiccan read. 6. None. Actually, it will actually make you stronger. 7. It will have the friends. 60. Part 2. The Wiccan Way. We hope that you will have a little spell. We also hope you will include in that love life and your relationships. You have the god and the goddess, and it will hold that principles, even if you have ready to practice Wicca, and it will be in 1974, the goddess of the American, and they no longer exist, but here is a list. 1. Know yourself. 2. Know your craft. 3. Learn. 4. Apply with the wisdom. 5. Acknowledge balance. 6. Keep your words in order. 7. Be good in good order. Chapter 4. What do we know as a witch? Celebrate life, ways of earth, breathe, and correctly, body, meditate in the God. We think that this will be for anyone strictly or not. The point of that, and respect yourself and your body. Following the Wiccan way. As you are probably understanding these, it will have casting, spells, and outfits. The Wiccan read. Remember that the Wiccan read, so none do no harm, will. Well, you have the full as it will. Bind the Wiccan law ye must in perfect love and perfect trust live, and let first failure and fairly give. Cast the circle thrice about till keep all the spirits out, and the spell lives in the listen. Honoring the Wiccan weed. So that's the Wiccan read, and it's quite beautiful. 1. You must keep the Wiccan laws with the attitude of perfect love and perfect trust. If you don't have that, you might. To respect people in nature, you both be treated. 3. Witches personally have a circle around them for magic. The magic is of salt, and do it 3 times. 4. Witches with Thera and the earth. 5. Be gentle. 6. With moon. 64. Part 2. 1. When the moon is getting snow, the circle. When the moon is new, and it just becomes 9. When it goes to the heart's devise. 66. Part 2. The Wiccan Way. You know, don't worry, you can be, there will be concentration. You will be in the kitchen, feel beneath your feet until the scent. The cabinets for the centers in front of you and right up to there, lemon knives. Chapter 5. You want to be a kitchen witch? Your place is in the universe. As a witch, you will be the universe. You will have that part at the time and the part of the everything. The least you need to know. Kitchen, have ethics, and the witch must be truly your temple. Magical lives inside you. What do you want to do magic? In this chapter, magical tests. You want where to find it. Clothes, magical clothes. When looked inside, now it's time to take a look. 70 part 2. The Wiccan Way. You have a good idea. When choosing your magical, when celebrating that and the magical toy, remember January or case shopping is to be fun. You must buy everything like the chapter. Keep in mind the mystery. What are magical toys, magical tools, or the objects and the rituals while doing magic? They are only rituals for another person. Magical tools can be fancy items. How to be magical tools. Each magical tool has its own use. The way that you use it is depending on each situation. Say for the purpose. Chapter 6. What do you need to do magic? 71. If you have a toy for a child that's sick, sharing magical tools. You can share your tools in a wardrobe or big drawers. Besides people protect your tools from other people. So mote it be. 72 part 2. Mini. Witches love toys. A basic inventory for beginners. The most common mistakes that a new witch makes will be to buy a bunch of toys. This is a list of tools. An athame is a double-edged knife for being the length that is for the god. It will forge a new ritual. A book of shadows is your book. Chapter 6. What do you need to do magic? 73. The cauldron represents the womb of the goddess. Chalices are cups for fancy mugs and represent the goddess. Incense sticks, cones, or in dust. The pentagram, which is jewelry. A wand. You can be a witch and new crowns. A bell is when considered chords, scrying. 74 part 2. The herbs are magic. For more advanced magic. When you are advanced, you will start calling oils. After you do time, you'll do more spells. Where do you find magical stuff? There are a lot of places to find tools. Metaphysical stores, catalogs, and more. Chapter 6. What do you need to do magic? 75. Banish. 76 part 2. The Wiccan Way. Magic's court, making your own. Chapter 6. What do we need to do magic? 77. Do witches wear straight clothes? 78 part 2. The Wiccan. Chapter 6. What do you need to do magic? 79. A lot of witches do their own. Chapter. 82, Part 2, The Wiccan Way. What is a Wiccan ritual? Wiccan ritual is a sacred space in order to cast your spells. Why perform a ritual? Chapter 7. What to do rituals? Wiccans refer to the ritual as the holidays. '84, Part 2, The Wiccan Way. It was the strike. They will be able to relax and you will be able to be sure in the circle. Part 2, The Wiccan Way. Be polite and respectful to other people. Part 2, The Wiccan Way. So going into your Book of Shadows. Rebirth. 94, Part 2, The Wiccan Way. So you want to do magic? So you want to do magic? '102, Part 3. So you want to do magic. '101, Part 3. So you want to do magic. Chapter 8. Dedicate yourself to the craft. '116, Part 3. So you want to do magic. '126, Part 3. So you want to do magic. '136. So you want to do magic. '150, Part 3. So you want to do magic. Chapter 13, Moon Magic. 198, Part 4, Working Magic. Are you ready for magic? Chapter 19, To Know, To Dare, To Will, To Keep Silent. Okay, so now I'm going to go into magic by the days of the week. Sunday magic, the energy of Sunday, which is named for Sunday is male. Monday magic, the energy of Monday is within the moon and it's female. Tuesday magic, Tuesdays that are full of energy. Wednesday magic. Chapter 21, Magical Twining. (276) Part 6, Witch's Brew. Candle magic and incense magic. Candle magic and incense magic. What you need for candle magic. Okay, here's what you can do for different spells if you're doing candle magic. A candle color that responds, a small and essential oil. Okay, gather all your magical tools. If you decide to have or do and not do the materials, candles, clay, crystals or stones, essential oils, feathers, herbs or flowers, incense, paper, powders, seeds, soil. If you are putting together love spell, your year and a day's study. Chapter 25, and a year and a day. Okay, I am going to close for now, and I'm just gonna kind of summarize, and I should say up front that obviously if you buy the book and you get into Wiccan and pagan and all that, I mean, this goes into way, way more detail and everything, and I didn't want to confuse you and everything. I just, kind of wanted to go over, the basics and everything, like that. I'm gonna also kind of, kind of remind you the way that I personally did it. I don't know if you've seen it, but if not, you should go take a look at my videos and everything. I did because there's like 4 lectures on that. And this is like a long time ago. I uploaded like 4 videos or something, and it was like an audio and everything, and they were each lecture is lecture one video, lecture 2 one video, lecture 3 one video, and then lecture 4 one video. And then this one is basically the audio that I just recorded today. This is basically, kind of, all on the same thing. It's just the same content. It's just like, because I wanted to be flexible with my viewers, I thought, well, last month I thought, what, okay, I did 4 lectures, lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3, and lecture 4, and I thought maybe it would be easier for some viewers if I just kind of did it all on one audio. So this is basically, the same 4 lectures. And, like I said, as the lectures that I did before, and the videos. So this is the same thing, and I thought, well, maybe it would be easier for some of my viewers, if I had it all on one thing. Like I said before, if you go by the book, this has, a lot more detail and everything. This is just, the basics and everything, but I didn't really want to confuse anybody, or if you are new to Wicca or, pagan, I really, really didn't want to complicate it, and I don't think that I have the time in one day to read absolutely every detail and absolutely, every single word from this whole, book and everything. And so I, hope that you kind of enjoy and everything the recording that I did, and I had a few different upload. I thought it would be really, really cool. I mean, I thought like a month ago, I thought, well, why don't I just do all the audio on one video with the 4 lectures, just have it on one slide for my viewers, if that works. So basically I am going to close for that right now, and I worked really, 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 really hard today. I worked really, really hard. So I thank you guys, for the enjoying, my audio and everything. What if you are new to Wicca and, pagan, this audio will kind of, kind of help you study it. So thanks, guys.